So today I'd like to discuss again, if you please, what you told me about the incident with your second wife, the neighbor's vegetable garden, and the jumper cables.
Again? You think it's significant to my abandonment issues?
Not particularly. It's a good story and you tell it well, especially the part where the fire truck pulls up.
Please, Doc, can we just get to it? I'm really uncomfortable with this as it is.
Certainly, of course. Let's discuss, then, the reoccurrences of the number 3 as it pertains to your life. You said it was your favorite number.
Yeah, so? And I like red a lot. Now we know my favorite color.
Come now, Captain. We're not going to get anywhere if you don't take this seriously. Now back to the number 3. Let's delve into the root of why this number is so attractive to you. It is curvaceous, almost female in its form, like a buttocks or pair of breasts. How is your relationship with your mother?
Here we go. The mother always comes into it. My mother is fine. Our relationship is fine. She wishes I would call more.
And what else about the number 3? You've been married 3 times. You have 3 children.
No, just one.
You have 3 cats.
No, just
you
one.
You are the third child in your own
I was
family.
the 4th.
Interesting. Ah, but you were the 3rd son.
Yes, I suppose.
And your birthday was 6/9. It's simply divisible by 3.
Enough, Doc. Where is this going?
You were born on the same day as Johnny Depp.
Oh,
who
man, please make it
has the
stop.
number 3 tattooed on his hand.
I didn't know that.
And now you have your 3rd co-host. Doesn't this all seem a little connected? I think it's a very astute psychoanalytic observation. I also enjoyed Sweeney Todd, except for that Helena Bonham Carter, who I just can't stand. You know she's still Kenneth Branagh away from that poor Emma Thompson.
Doc, what about my co-hosts?
Ah, but who could forget Edward Scissorhands, his breakthrough film? He was just wonderful in that, and so funny in those pirate movies. You know he based his character on that Rolling Stones fellow.
Why do they keep leaving me?
Ah, who can bloody say? These things happen. Maybe 3 times is the charm, eh? Like I said, you were married 3 times. It's probably just like that. It took you 3 relationships to finally find the right person. Did you see Don Juan DeMarco? Now that was an underestimated film. Brando. Hello?
My God.
You see? Relax. There's nothing to worry about.
Doc, I've also had 3 divorces.
3 divorces? I wouldn't have remarried after the first one. Are you crazy?
How the hell should I know? You're the psychiatrist. Welcome to Season 2 of Primetime UGC. We had a hell of a first season. 10 episodes of author interviews, interviews with the devs from our favorite MMO, Star Trek Online, as well as their parent company, Perfect World. We had news and tutorials that focused on our favorite aspect of STO, the Foundry. After all, that's what this show's about, the Foundry and Star Trek Online. We had a little more than a month off, and we're back to bring you all new episodes full of all the tremendous features we know you love. There may even be a few new sponsors this season. A continuation of Law and Order is long overdue and coming very soon. We've even got a little surprise for you later on in the episode. So while we're settling into Season 2, here's a highlight from last season. We'll have news on the other side, as well as our Primetime UGC author interview with this week's Foundry Spotlight winner, one of the hosts of Foundry Files, formerly of Stoked. Admiral Murphy will be here with us. Let's kick it off.
Doctor, I would speak with you regarding some discomfort I'm having.
Sure, Sulek. What seems to be the trouble?
In private, if you don't mind, Doctor.
Don't worry about Nurse Borden, son. She's busy with her duties. That patient on the bed there went into cardiac arrest a few minutes ago. Now what's troubling you? Come on, out with it. I'm a doctor. There's nothing I haven't heard.
Well, I've been on this mission out in deep space for 6 years now. It was about a year before I got the assignment
Say
that
no more, son. I've got just the thing. Medical science has advanced to the point where we've almost licked the common cold. Blood fever? No problem. Not anymore. Now there's Vulcaden, Ponfar Reliever. It magically erases all symptoms associated with the Vulcan mating ritual.
I have tried medications before, Doctor,
But you've never tried Vulcaden. Just take 2 of these and you'll be right as rain.
You are right, Doctor. I feel 98.35% better already.
Ask your doctor about Vulcaden. There's no need to fear Ponfar.
Side effects may include weight gain, weight loss, hair loss, ear pain, stomach upset, diarrhea, incontinence, flatulism, irritation of the inner eyelid, round ears, and priapism, a mind meld lasting more than 4 hours. If you experience any of these, call your doctor immediately. Patients with an allergy to plomeek root should not take Vulcaden.
Since the last broadcast, there have been following 4 authors chosen for the Foundry Spotlight. One was the first Foundry Challenge winner, Mazakin, with Federation Desperation. Che Raj was chosen for Another Man's Hell, Havraha for his Time the Enemy, and most recently, interviewee Admiral Murphy for his Victory is Q. Also, the Foundry Challenge 2 winner was chosen, and actually, it's a pair of winners. There's A Splint in Time by Miles Redria, and Gazarok City by Wog HD. Additionally, the third Foundry Challenge was announced, titled Holodeck Hypocrisy. There's not much time left in order to put together and submit one. You have until June 6th. By June 20th, we should know who the winner of this challenge is. Star Trek Magazine featured Star Trek Online, including a original fiction piece by Cryptic Kestrel, which features Captain Sean, the current Enterprise captain. Fleet star bases were revealed via an article on Massively, and with 2 separate releases to the Star Trek Online blog. Another guest blog on StarTrek.com featuring the Klingons of the Gates of Sto-vo-kor podcast. UFP interviewed Daniel Stahl. The Star Dispatch interviewed Brandflake, and also the Verdict podcast interviewed Brandflake.
We begin the second season of Primetime UGC with an interview of a well-known author and reviewer of UGC missions. You know him from his involvement with Foundry Files and his extensive catalog of missions. Join us in welcoming Admiral Murphy.
Hello.
How long have you played STO, and what drew you into the Foundry?
I've been playing since about launch. I think I started about 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, and it was just to give time to see how the game was reviewing because I had never played an MMO before. So it was something I was like, I knew I was going to invest a lot of money into it, and it was the first time I ever was drawn to an MMO just because it was in a Star Trek skin, and who wouldn't want to play a game in the Star Trek universe? And since I was a big fan fiction writer, I couldn't wait to actually bring my characters to life in the game and play as them. And then when the Foundry came out, I couldn't wait to tell my own stories from my own fan fiction in the Foundry. So I was pretty much in the Foundry testing as soon as I could, creating my first mission, Deep Space 11.
Looking at your list of missions, you have only 2 standalones out of 28 total missions.
Yeah.
Deep Space 11 and Victory is Q. Then, your story arcs or multi-episode missions break down like this. Jem'Hadar Alliance is 6, Breaking the Mirror is 5, Terror Knocks at the Door is 4 missions, The Hunt for Shozek is 6 missions, and your new ITPA Intergalactic Time Protection Agency missions, a total of 5. Needless to say, you have to be one of the most prolific authors in all of the Foundry. I know some others have a ton of missions, but they're not authored solely by one person that I'm aware of. Based on all this information, one, where do you find the time, and why are your stories so big?
I guess I find the time just because I'm just in school right now, so I don't really have a job other than doing the Foundry files and that stuff in my free time. So I have a lot of free time available to devote to creating Foundry missions, and it's not really hard for me to write the stories for them because basically what I do is look at my fan fiction already I've written up and say, okay, I'd love to use say the Terran Empire, because what I also look for is Cryptic doesn't release Foundry featured episodes as much as I would like. So I look at what I would wish they'd come out with, like the Terran Empire featured episode series, and say, okay, let's see my fan fiction, and I'd like to see this bad guy. How can I throw that together to create a Foundry series? And so that's what I kind of do with story, and then it's pretty easy to throw together a plot from there.
I read the ad for the ITPA posted on the Starbase UGC website, and it seems that you had written that big excerpt in fan fiction. How many of these stories begin as fan fiction?
I think all of my current published Foundry series start with fan fiction. At least Jem'Hadar Alliance does. The Hunt for Shosek does, because he's a recurring character in my fan fiction. The only one that is not tied to any of my fan fiction stories in any way would have to be Victory is Q, because that was my first attempt at trying to create a mission completely from scratch with completely new characters and a completely new plot.
Ultimately, who do you write your missions for?
I have to say, originally when I first got into the Foundry, I was just writing for me because I had played with a few other like UGC tools growing up, and I was just creating it for me to just because I love creating things. So I would create things and then play them myself, and that's what my intention was for Deep Space 11 and other missions. I wasn't really intending to go play other people's missions right off the bat because I was so excited to spend hours and hours of my time creating my own. But then after a while, I started to see other authors' great work, and I just loved seeing what they could pull off, and it made me want to see if I could try to pull off the same type of like technical achievements or stuff like that. Now it's kind of a balance of something that I would like to play, but something also that your average gamer would love to play, which is why I tried to do a good balance between story and gameplay, because I really think it's important to tell a great story through the Foundry, but I also think it's important to have a good gameplay aspect to keep your average player interested.
If you could have only one new feature added to Foundry, what do you think that would be?
One new feature, and there's so many to pick from. That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the first one that comes to mind, I don't know if it would be my top one, but it's the first one that comes to mind, is a more advanced character creator, because I feel it's so limited that it's really hard to pull off some of the characters I want to create, especially in like uniforms and stuff, because I would love to be able to create like a custom Romulan or a custom Hirogen or a custom Jem'Hadar, but they really don't let you do that.
Right.
They only let you use a certain amount of the NPCs. And I don't even think they give you access to like mirror NPCs that are already made or stuff like that. And that's some things that I would like to see improved. Same with the ship creator. I'd love to be able to mix together pieces to try to create custom ships, or be able to skin NPC contacts in, say, mirror ships, because I know you can't do that right now.
Yeah, I think it would be cool too to be able to take the stock NPCs that they've already included and be able to customize them. If we could pull them out and maybe change a little of their costuming, if they gave us some more options. We'll see what happens in season 6. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping that costuming gets improved, because I know before I even got to play with the Foundry at all, I actually had the Jem'Hadar Alliance script drafted out, and I had to do major editing on it when I actually got my hands on the Foundry and figured out what I had to do. And before that, I had more intentions to go into the Antonian Galaxy, the galaxy I have you go into in several of my Foundry missions, but I haven't gotten to go as in depth into that galaxy if I wanted to, just because of the limiting aspects of the Foundry with space ships and stuff, because really you only get the 5 generic ships you can play with, and after a while it can start to get boring. So I'm hoping that they give the ability to create some new ships in there so that people have the ability to create their own new races.
Now, with you having as wide of experience as you do with the Foundry files and such, what is your favorite mission that you've come across so far?
That is a tough one, and I think it's just because we've played a big wide range of missions, so many great ones, and then so many kind of ones. It was really hard right off the start to find some of the best ones, but now we've hit our stride where we're finding so many great missions out there from the community and just by playing them ourselves. Because of the way we review them on Foundry Files, I come to look at it as from three different aspects that we review: from story, technical, and gameplay. I think the one mission that has me there is Alec Mack's new mission, at least for story and technical, the Mains of Balnar Moon. I just found that one really great from a story and technical aspect with some of the things he's thrown in there. I think my favorite one, though, with gameplay would have to be Not Our War by Zondi, I think it is.
Zondi. Yes.
Zondi. And that one I just had a blast because it starts off with like simple space combat, and then it just gets crazy with the fleet battles. And that's something I wish you'd see more in just overall Stowe, is these huge epic fleet battles. And that's what I just loved about this that Foundry mission. There are so many other ones that I just love out there. It's just like I log on every day hoping to find a really great one that I haven't played before. And I'm happy to say I usually find one.
What is the Foundry Files, and how did you guys get started with it?
Foundry Files is actually something that was conceived while I was on vacation. It was the week I left for a week-long vacation. There was no mention of this thing. And while I was gone, the plans got put into this thing by several of our current members now. And when I got back, it was like, oh my God, this is great. I can't wait to get involved on this. And they were happy to accept me in. We all got started working together on this. It was something that our fleet leader, Asmik, and Chris talked about because they wanted to feature more Foundry in the show because they had problems in the beginning. Because in early Stoked, when the Foundry first came out, they would just kind of come on and mention a couple missions by their titles. They wouldn't really go into any detail. And some members of the community would complain that these weren't the best missions that they were highlighting. They were just giving out titles to go play. So the goal of the Foundry Files was to play through these missions, review them, and then get them out there to the community, whichever ones that we found the best that we had played. So that's our motto through going through Foundry missions, is which one's been the best that we've played, and then we get that one on the show segment. Another unique part of Foundry Files is that we do a very unique scoring sheet that Irish came up with. And it goes really in depth to story, technical, and gameplay. And I really like that just because I'm not a big numbers guy when it comes to the Foundry. I don't like the 5-star rating system just because you only get an option between 1 and 5. What I like about our scoring system that we use is that you're allowed to go into more detail in each of the categories because each mission has its high points and low points, sometimes all high points all around. And it can be in story, really great story, kind of okay gameplay, or just really great story and technical. And it's really hard to simply review a Foundry mission with 5 stars. And when you're able to go into more detail, it just makes it so much easier to cover it and figure out why is this mission great. And that's our goal with Foundry Files, is to bring a mission to the Stoked audience and the whole Stowe community and say, this is a great mission we picked up. And then we try to do a 15 to 20 minute segment on, now here's why we want you to go play it. And then we give the story reasons why, the technical reasons why, and the gameplay reasons why.
We are glad that you guys have decided to continue the tradition and bring it on over to feature with us.
Mm-hmm. We are really excited about doing that because for a while, especially when we were on like a 3-month break, we were really sad because we had so many more missions that we wanted to cover. And we were still getting submissions during that time. And so we kept talking about spinning it off into our own thing. We just didn't know how. And it was even talked about when we were doing Stoked originally. It wasn't until Stoked was going to go off the air that we knew that we had to split it off into its own thing. Now, there were talks about doing it with Stoked Radio, and we still intend to, but it loses the video aspect, which I also really like about Foundry Files. So we're really glad that we've been given the opportunity to come over to the big hub for the Foundry, Starbase UGC, and be able to continue the show there. And we're still working on all the stuff to see if we're actually going to do maybe a little more than just reviewing Foundry missions, or if we're just going to keep it to that and review more missions a week. That's still all in the talks.
Being a veteran of 28 missions, what is the best advice you can give a new Foundry author coming in?
I think as a new author, I'd recommend just playing around with it at first, because when you first hop into it, there is so many options, it's overwhelming. But after a while with playing it, it becomes a really simple tool to use. So I guess I would recommend just hop in there. Don't even plan on making a mission. Just try to set up a couple of maps and a couple of objectives and see what you can throw together. And if you get stuck along the way, there's always, if you can get in contact with different Foundry authors, always ask for their help because they're usually willing to help out. And definitely check out video tutorials and so on. And there's a lot of different resources out there to help you wrap your head around the Foundry.
And that's going to wrap up our interview with Admiral Murphy. Thank you for your time and for your candor. Come back and see us again soon.
Thank you for having me on.
And now, the bug report. Many of the same bugs still remain. In fact, Avrha has compiled a large list of bugs that can be found in the forums. I encourage anyone who's encountered any bugs to read through it, see if their bug is in there, and if not, to make sure to submit it. It does look like the purchasing bug for Foundry slots may have been resolved. I'm still looking for more information from players. I haven't seen at least one report where it is still an issue, but it is unconfirmed if this is a global issue or if it's merely just one person having a problem. If the Foundry is going to be the creative forefront for Star Trek Online, now that a focus seems to be moving away from cryptic created missions, be it feature episodes or large-scale content such as that, then it behooves Cryptic to make a better effort to support in upgrading the Foundry, be it with asset additions, and repairing issues that have been long-standing. There are a great many outstanding bugs, as if anybody reads through Avrha's list will see, and a lot of those bugs have been in existence since the beginning of the Foundry. There are also many outstanding asset requests and features for the Foundry. While I can give some leadway on features, the assets are really something that should be available in there. Additionally, there's been little to no feedback on timelines for trying to include any of these items, or even the status on most of these bugs, except when something goes horribly wrong, like the Season 4 update. It's my hope that something will be done to change the state of affairs and make it so that players have better access and better ability to create missions that are engaging, engrossing, and at least as good as the content provided by the Cryptic team.
It's me again, Crazy Chalaski, and have I got some deals for you. This is my wildest sale ever. You had the best, now try the rest. You don't have to spend bars of your latinum when strips will get you the finest used slaves this side of Regulus. Sure, these babies have a little mileage on them, but one man's trash is another man's treasure, am I right? Yes, I am, because Crazy Chalaski's got deals that are just plain lunacy. I've got green ones, white ones, blue ones. I can't even name all the shapes and styles I'm offering you at absolutely nutty rock-bottom prices. I'm Crazy Chalaski, and if you're in the market for a pre-owned harlot, I've got her in my inventory. Take old Jamunga here. She can cough up a bucket of Dovamite phlegm all day, but it completely clears up by nightfall. That's when you really need her anyway, am I right? Of course I am, and she's just 8 strips. Go ahead and say it. Chalaski is crazy. Look at Valmay. She has absolutely no visible scarring, and she can be coherent for almost 90 minutes at a time. That's plenty if you know what I'm talking about. And this scratch and dead strumpet will only set you back 6 strips. Okay, 5 strips. I must be out of my mind. Of course I am. I'm Crazy Chalaski. Now, Gallus here has only had a single owner. That's right, just one owner. Since he died of some strange alien virus, you can get this sweetie for a song. Literally. Come down and sing to me and she's all yours. Why, you ask? Because I'm Crazy Chalaski. That's right, Crazy Chalaski. And my prices are insane!
Crazy Chalaski is not responsible for any defects or medical anomalies, nor is he liable for any damages after purchase. And remember, all sales are final, no returns accepted. Well, I threw in Crazy Chalaski because Murphy likes that one. He's our guest, after all. Anyway, here at Primetime, we had a gift given to us by the honorable boys over at the gates of Stovacor. They donated to us a Ferengi Decora-class cruiser. Whatever shall we do with it? Well, Cass Serb and I have decided to give it away to one of you viewers who likes to dabble in the Foundry. Beginning today, we ask that you make us a mission. This mission, however, must be about one thing: a rogue computer system. That's it. It makes no difference to us what faction you choose, Fed or Klingon, as long as its title and project ID are emailed to us at mailbag@primetimeugc.com by no later than midnight of June 30th, Eastern Standard Time. Yes, we're an East Coast U.S. show by 2/3 majority. Just kidding. We're not kidding about this contest, however. Submit your entries to us by midnight EST on June 30th. We'll play them, and we'll vote on the winner.
The wonderful Ferengi tech will be yours, so make it a good one. Remember, that's mailbag at PrimetimeUGC.com. Happy authoring!
I'm Crazy Chulaski, and I'm back with Chulaski's Choice. This week's special is a fine maiden named Alamar. She was owned by a Bajoran expatriate who she only rode before temple on Sundays. High mileage? Yes, but well maintained as you can see. Today and today only, don't let this crazy deal pass you by. I'm asking 4 strips down from 5. That is an amazingly demented deal. Her accessories alone are worth that. How can I do it, you ask? I'll tell you how. I'm crazy! That's right, I'm Crazy Chulaski. So come down and pick her up. Time's running out. Better yet, the first offer of 4 strips gets free delivery. Did you hear me? Free. It's insanity, I tell you. Severe mental disorder, the likes of which cannot be measured with any known technology. Because I'm Crazy Chulaski and my prices are insane.
Now it's time for Published in Primetime, where we list all the new missions submitted to our mailbag and to the Promote Your Foundry mission thread on the STO forums under Foundry for Star Trek Online Mission Database. First up on the Fed side is For Every Action, Part 1 by Captain P.F. Dennis. Screen Defense by Corin Thorin. Liberating Laborers by Sherbet Lemon. 8472 Manifest Destiny by Lancer Solaris. The Ambry Directorate, Part 3 by Zerus Armorer. Endeavor by Slick Rick 1701. And ITPA by Admiral Murphy. And now the 2 KDF offerings. KDF Borg Blitz by Puppet X. And Obtain Borg Tech for the Empire by Zuzademus. That's going to do it for this episode of Primetime UGC. We hope you enjoyed it, and it's great to be back. Remember, you can always put forth a friendly suggestion or remark, submit a mission, and send us your contest entry at mailbag@primetimeugc.com. Good night now.